a place where the sun feels like a distant memory, where human contact is a ghost of the past. A place so secure, so isolated, that it's been called a clean version of hell. This isn't a setting from a dystopian novel. This is a real place, buried deep in the high desert of Colorado. This is the United States Penitentiary Administrative Maximum Facility, more commonly known as ADX Florence. For over 3 decades, ADX has been the final destination for individuals deemed the most dangerous, the most high risk in the American federal prison system. But what truly happens behind its walls, fortified with razor wire and a dozen 12-foot fences? What is the reality of life inside the Alcatraz of the Rockies? Today, we are pulling back the curtain, not with speculation or rumors, but with verified facts, courtroom testimonies, and first-hand accounts from the few who have seen the inside and lived to tell the tale. We're uncovering the dark, documented secrets of ADX Florence. To understand ADX, you must understand why it was built. The 1980s were a turbulent time for the Federal Bureau of Prisons. High-profile incidents, including the tragic deaths of 2 correctional officers at a maximum security prison in Marion, Illinois, convinced authorities that a new kind of facility was needed. One that was, for all intents and purposes, escape-proof. One that could completely neutralize an inmate's ability to exert influence or cause harm, both inside and outside the prison walls. Construction began in 1990, and when ADX Florence opened its doors in November 1994, it was unlike any prison ever seen. Designed for a single purpose: absolute control through extreme isolation. It houses just over 400 inmates, each one a name that has echoed through modern history for the worst reasons: terrorists, cartel leaders, spies, and serial murderers. The list of residents is a who's who of infamy. But the story of ADX isn't just about who is inside. It's about what the inside does to them. Let's step into the world of an ADX inmate. Life unfolds within a 7 by 12-foot concrete box. That's smaller than the average parking space. For 23 hours a day, this is your entire universe. The furniture is all made of poured concrete, immovable and cold. A bed, a desk, a stool. There's also a combination toilet and sink, and a shower that operates on a timer to prevent flooding. Everything is designed to minimize an inmate's ability to interact with or alter their environment. The window, a mere slit of reinforced glass, is angled upwards so the only view is a sliver of sky. You can't see the landscape, another building, or another human being. It's a constant, architectural reminder of your isolation. Food is delivered through a small slot in the solid steel door. Communication with guards is often through an intercom system. Human interaction is virtually non-existent. Robert Hood, a former warden of ADX Florence, once described the facility as a place that is not designed for humanity. This isn't just a tough-sounding quote. It's a statement backed by extensive documentation. A 2012 class action lawsuit filed against the Bureau of Prisons brought to light the profound psychological effects of this extreme solitude. The complaint, filled with sworn testimonies from mental health experts, described a hyper-stimulating environment where the silence is broken by screams, wails, and the sounds of inmates harming themselves. The lawsuit alleged that the prolonged isolation at ADX can and does cause severe mental anguish, psychosis, and cognitive decline. Inmates reported hallucinations, conversations with voices that weren't there, and a complete loss of their sense of self. Think about it. Without the normal sensory input of daily life, the mind begins to fracture. For inmates who arrive with pre-existing mental health conditions, ADX can become a crucible of suffering. The lawsuit detailed cases of inmates mutilating their own bodies, engaging in prolonged hunger strikes, and displaying behaviors so erratic they defied rational explanation. Officially, there is a path out of this isolation. It's called the Step-Down Program, a multi-year, multi-phase system designed to gradually reintroduce inmates to more social settings, with the ultimate goal of transferring them to a less restrictive prison. In theory, good behavior allows an inmate to move from near total isolation to having contact with another inmate, then to small group activities. However, critiques and internal reports have shown this process can be agonizingly slow and arbitrary. A minor infraction, sometimes perceived as such only by a guard, could send an inmate right back to the beginning. For some, the psychological damage is already done, making it impossible for them to ever successfully navigate the program. They become trapped in a cycle of isolation and mental deterioration, effectively serving a sentence far harsher than what any judge mandated. This has led many legal experts and human rights organizations, including Amnesty International, to question whether the conditions at ADX constitute a violation of international standards, specifically the prohibition of cruel and unusual punishment. The principle of no human contact is central to ADX's design. When an inmate is moved from their cell for a medical appointment or a legal visit, it's a procedure of extreme caution. They are shackled at the hands, feet, and waist and escorted by multiple guards. Physical contact is forbidden. Even visits with family or lawyers are typically no contact, conducted through a thick pane of glass via telephone. The feeling of another person's touch becomes a distant, almost unimaginable memory. The only real break from the cell is 1 hour of solo recreation. This takes place in an outdoor cage, often referred to by inmates as the dog run. It's a small concrete enclosure with high walls, topped with a grate that allows a view of the sky. Here, an inmate can walk, stretch, or simply feel the open air. But they are still alone. They see no one. They speak to no one. It's a lonely form of freedom. ADX Florence remains one of the most controversial institutions in the United States. To its defenders, it is a necessary tool of justice and security. A place that guarantees the world's most dangerous criminals can never harm anyone again. They argue that the safety of the public and prison staff justifies these extreme measures. From their perspective, the inmates at ADX forfeited their right to a normal existence when they committed their terrible crimes. But to its critics, ADX is a symbol of an overreaching penal system, an experiment in sensory deprivation that pushes the boundaries of humane treatment. They see it as a place that doesn't just contain evil, but actively creates suffering. The documented stories of psychological collapse, the stark reality of 23-hour-a-day solitude, and the unending legal and ethical debates paint a grim picture. The true dark secret of ADX Florence may not be a hidden conspiracy, but something far more plain and chilling. That in our quest to punish the worst of humanity, we may have created a place that challenges our own. A place where the silence is the loudest sound, and the punishment continues long after the cell door closes. The debate over ADX is, in many ways, a debate about ourselves, about where we draw the line between justice and cruelty. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into one of the world's most secretive prisons. If you found this documentary insightful, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content that uncovers the truth. Stay curious and stay safe.